Hi, this is Sunday. I am so glad to have you here today. This is our 2017 mid-year check-in. So I wanted to take the time, it's the end of June, and I wanted to take the time to do a check-in on your goals. If many of you have been following me since the beginning of the year, you'll know that in January, December, it was a really big push for you to set your 2017 goals. And so now we want to take this time in the mid-year and do a check-in and see how we're doing. And if you didn't start or create those 2017 goals, this is the perfect time for you to actually get that in motion. And so before we get started, let me tell you a little bit about me. If you're new to this group and you don't know who I am, my name is Sunday Gardner. I am the moderator for this group and also the Marketing Boss Pro. And my superpower is marketing and technology and business process automation to help your business increase and realize your maximum potential and sales. And so, who I will tell you this training, today's training is for, it's for the business owner who's been in business for greater than 2 years. If you are just starting off your business, setting goals is very important. However, you probably don't have the history to identify what's necessary for you to make the modifications. So I'm really talking to those business owners who've been in business for at least 2 years. I'm also talking to those business owners who want to be accountable for their success and they want to achieve specific results. So if you're just sort of floating along and you don't really want to be accountable and you kind of just want to be coasting along, this is probably not the right training for you. You may want to drop off right now. And then last but certainly not least, I'm talking to those business owners today who want to be profitable, who have a strong desire to be able to look at their bottom line and say, you know what? I'm actually making money at this. I'm actually doing this for a greater reason than just a hobby, and I actually want to see some coins in my bank account at the end of the year as a result of profitability. Let me tell you who this is not for. This is not for someone who's been in business for less than 2 years, who's really just kind of starting and beginning, and they really need direction on how to start their business. This is for someone who's in business. They know what exactly they want to do. They know what their products and services are, and they're ready to get started. You're also not in the right place today if you're looking at the end of the year and you're still saying, damn it, I can't believe another year went by and I don't have anything to show for it. So if that's you and you expect that to be you, then you probably want to drop off from this training as well. But then this is also not for the business owner who's got a bunch of excuses for days. If you are accustomed to saying, well, it's so and so's fault, or the reason I can't achieve is because the following 15,000 excuses, this also isn't for you. I'm looking to talk to people right now, and this training is for people right now who are interested in putting the excuses aside, looking to take action, and really want to be accountable for the rest of the year to ensuring their own success. Okay, so now that we've talked about who this is for and who it isn't for, let's talk about some of the things that I want to do in this check-in for 2017. Um, the goal is for you to review your goals that you set for 2017 or to actually establish those goals because you still have time. You have 6 months left in the rest of the year. Saturday starts July 1st, and that gives you exactly 6 months to make a really huge impact for the rest of the year. If you did set your goals for 2017, this is the time to make adjustments, right? To take a look at what your actuals were, look at what your performance was, and see where you need to make changes, right? So let's take, for example, at the beginning of the year, I set a goal to help and impact 100 small business and entrepreneurs up-level their business from 5-figure to 6-figure. And so I have had to make an adjustment in that. And I'll talk a little bit about my personal journey and what I've had to do. But now is the time. So what I want you to do is I want you to realize it's not too late if you haven't set the goals. And this is the time to reset, take a look at what you've done over the last 6 months, take a look at what your original goals were, and make adjustments based on what actually has been occurring over the last 6 months. All right, here are a couple of things that I want to make sure that we go over today. And so today we are going to go over what was your vision and what is your dream state of your business? What is it that you want to accomplish in the next 6 months, right? And then we also today we're going to go over understanding where you are right now. So a vision and what your dream state is future. So at the end of 6 months, this is what you want to accomplish, but where are you today? And then last but certainly not least, we want to understand what are the gaps that you need to achieve in order to achieve that dream state, right? So that then becomes the goals that you'll need to set in order to achieve what you want to get to at the end of the year. So again, first step is what do you want? Where do you want to be? Next step, where are you now? And then the last step is where are the gaps? And let's identify those gaps such that we can create the goals for the rest of the year. Okay, so let's get started. Here are a couple of examples that I want you to take into account when setting your goals. And I've got some examples from clients, myself, past experiences, but I kind of took a look at kind of what my history was so that I could help you guys really actually take some examples and actually use them in your own application. So the first one is that I meet a lot of business owners who really don't have a vision. They got into business because they didn't like their boss and they knew that they could do it themselves, and they just started and opened up a business, right? So they're in the middle of their business and they really don't have a vision. They've really not stopped and thought about, what is it that I really want to accomplish with this business besides the fact of creating my own job so that I don't have to deal with that boss that I don't like. So you come to work every single day in your business and you hate your business, you hate your job, right? So effectively what you've done is you've created a job for yourself, and you look up 2, 3, 5 years from now and you're just working and you're not really working towards anything. All right. So you're working sort of motionless in your business. You don't really have a larger plan and you sort of feel like a cog in your own wheel. So you created a business to get away from a boss, and then you became that boss that you don't like. Right. So we want to talk about and avoid that sort of scenario for any business owners who are feeling like that. And then another example as to why having a annual goal is good, or you may even relate to this example, is that you have wasted or unaccounted for expenditures. You look up at the end of the year and you cannot figure out where all of your money went. You look up in your bank account and there's no money in your bank account, or you have been spinning and you've not been able to buy the things that you want personally or for your business. And 9 times out of 10, when I work with clients, the reason that is because they haven't created a plan for their finances and their expenses, and they really don't know where anything's going. So they're just kind of going along every day, spending, doing, and not really allocating their time and their funds appropriately. And so another example of what we want to alleviate with creating an annual goal and then the mid checkpoint goal is that if you're a burnt out business owner and you are and you have unmotivated employees, 9 times out of 10 it's because they don't understand your vision, you don't understand your vision, and you're not following it, right? So your employees are they're just coming to work every day. They don't understand the larger plan, right? You are burnt out. You are exhausted. You're tired. You're just kind of going through the motions, and you've got this sort of because this has really happened to me too in the past as well, is where you're working so hard, you know you have a goal, but you're working so hard and you've forgotten why you're doing it, right? You've forgotten why you're doing all of the things that you're doing because they're really not aligned to the bigger picture. So we want to avoid that for you. So if you feel like any of those sort of three examples that I've gotten, this is the perfect time for you to set a reset button, right? Is for you to really take a look at where are you going, what do you want to accomplish, and let's take a look at how do you get there, right? So let's talk about the process, right? I'm a big process person. If you've been following me, you know that I love easy steps to follow. And so here's the process that I go through in defining your goals, assessing your goals and where you want to be. First thing is every time I sit down with a client and we do a planning session for them, I sit down and I really kind of uncover what is the vision, right? And so what is it? And when I say vision, some people have a hard time understanding what that means. So let me back up and talk about what vision really is. So, you see I have glasses. Vision really is about allowing you to see clearer what it is that you want to accomplish. So it doesn't have to be complicated, right? It doesn't have to be rocket science. And 9 times out of 10, it isn't rocket science. It really is about when you sit down, you close your eyes and you think about your business, what is it that you saw? What is it that you thought about would be the perfect business? Now, granted, I don't believe in perfection, but when you thought about your business, what did you see? What did you want? Not only what did you want for yourself, but what did you want for others, right? What did you want for people that were going to work for you, work with you, and work around you? What was that experience intended to be? And if you've never done that and you don't have the answer to that, that's okay. Because like I said, this time is now for you to figure that out. So here are a couple of things that I want you to take into account when thinking about your vision, right? And I just said them. What do you want for yourself personally and professionally in your business? What do you want to get out of it? From a vision perspective, what do you want the people that interact with you to get out of it, right? So your clients, what do you want them to get out of it? What is the experience that you want them to have? In terms of relating with you and your staff and your business as a whole. And then last but not least, I always like you for people not to forget, what do people that work in your business, what is the experience that you want them to have? What do you want your staff to experience? What do you want other people who do business with you in terms of vendor relationships, partnerships? What do you want that experience to be? That is your vision. Those are the 3 things that you need to account for when you think about your vision. And so what I want you to do is I want you to think about, what is that experience for yourself, for your clients, and for people that work with you day to day and long term. Okay, so now that you've thought about what the experience is, what I want you to do is I want you to think about from the perspective of where you may be today. I want to give you an example of a business owner who has lack of vision and clarity and what their day-to-day may be. Okay, so now that we've gone over what your vision is, what I want to do is I want you to take step 2 is really assessing where you are today. And that assessment, oftentimes when people look at themselves, they just really focus on, oh, well, I'm not accomplishing A, B, C, and D. And really the assessment is more than that. It's really about understanding where you are, not why you got here, but where you are. So let's take, for example, if my vision is to help 100 people, where am I today with that right now? Am I offering the right types of products and services that are going to allow people to hit that six-figure mark, right? So the current assessment that I would do for my business is really how am I going to get there, right? And let me rephrase it. It's really not about the how, it's really about what am I doing today that's going to allow me to help people get there. So that's really what the assessment is about, is if I want to, let's say my vision again is 100 people, I want to help 100 people in 12 months reach a particular status, right? So the assessment that I would look at is what am I doing today from a product and service perspective that's allowing people to reach that goal? Am I in front of the number of people that are going to allow me to hit the 100 mark, right? So it's really about assessing what do you have in place today that will allow you to hit that vision, right? So it's about really peeling back the onion of your business and where you are personally as the leader of your business to get you to where you are. So again, it's not about how you're going to do it, right? I need to do, these 5 things to restructure my business or create these products and services. No, it's not about that. The assessment is really about figuring out what am I doing right now? Am I hitting the mark? What am I doing right now to help, right? And I always love to start with the numbers because the numbers always tell the story. So if you're not a numbers person, it's okay, but you really need to understand what is it going to take for you to get what you want in terms of your vision. And so when I say numbers tell the story, um, great things to assess in your self-assessment are your current sales, your historical sales. So current sales and historical sales, your current and historical product offerings, your current and your current and your past testimonials from your clients. If you've done any surveys, what do your clients, what do your customers have to say? What do your staff members have to say about how you're doing in your business right now? So if you have reviews of your business performance, those are always great indicators of how you're doing. Another great indicator of how you're doing is to take a look at your competitors and compare yourself as to how you perform your services and or products in comparison to how they deliver them. So again, it's not really about you trying to say, are you better? Are you, are they worse? It's really about just taking a hard look at where you are and other people who are performing like services. How do you compare against that, right? And when I do that sort of competitor assessment, it really allows me to take a look at, if I see a lot of competitors who are offering a service or a product that I'm not offering, it makes me it makes me take a second look and think, well, maybe there's a demand and maybe I need to create that type of product offering as well. So again, it's not for you to start to judge and compare yourself, but it really does allow you to take a look at the market in terms of demand and to see if there's another opportunity for your business to create a product or services based on what the market is telling you. And if you see a lot of your competitors who are in the same space offering that product, that may be an opportunity for you to take advantage. All right. And so the next step in this 3-step process is really about knowing how do you bridge the gap. So really about here's my vision, here's what I'm doing today, and what's the missing piece, right? So I've sort of alluded to that in terms of looking at your competitors, but then also taking a look at, taking a hard look at what changes you need to make in your business in order for you to get to that next step or to hit that vision that you want. And that doesn't have to necessarily be immediate steps. It could be longer term steps. You would want to prioritize those gaps. So what really the gap assessment that you're going to do is really about, this is what I want, here's where I'm at, and these are the things that I need to do to achieve that. And here's a couple of ways or thoughts for you to take into consideration when looking at how do you achieve that. So I'm giving you some examples of past clients or prospective clients that I've worked with in terms of understanding how you bridge the gap. Because what I find is most people don't really even understand how to assess a gap, right? Or to figure out that, oh, here's the gap and what I need. All right, so here's a couple of examples. So here's an example of a vision and an assessment and a gap that may exist. So the vision item is, as an owner, you would like to pay yourself a salary. So the current assessment is that you have employees that you pay, you have expenses that you pay, but you don't have a line item in your budget or in your plan to pay yourself. And so that's the gap, right? Is that you want to pay yourself, you look at your budget and you don't even have it allocated to pay yourself. So the gap is creating a line item and a budgeted amount to pay the owner, yourself. And so what another gap may be when you do the self-assessment is that you've got expenses, right? I'm going to use a salon owner as an example, and maybe not even you sell products. Let's use a product owner, right? A product business. You sell products, and at the end of the day, you look at your budget and you say, okay, my current assessment says is I have no money or room to pay myself, right? I spend every dollar that goes out the door. I have $0 to even allocate for owner salary. But let's take a look at what your core business is. Your core business is that you sell product, right? But you're sitting on a lot of inventory and you continue to make purchases of new inventory, right? So the gap or the opportunity that arises when you take a look at your expenses is that my core business is product sales. I'm sitting on a lot of inventory. I'm not moving that inventory. So that means I'm spending money and I'm sitting on money that is further preventing me from being able to pay myself. So one of your goals for the next 6 months could be to create a inventory process that moves your inventory quicker by putting things on sale that are not moving, making sure that you create a marketing strategy for moving that inventory, slowing down inventory purchases based on how well they're selling, not doing as much investment, and then creating that savings and also that revenue from inventory that's been sitting there for a while could be then allocated to owner salaries, right? So that is kind of how you can take an example from, here's a vision, I don't have any money to pay, but when I take a look at my business and look at the way that I'm spending my dollars, there's an opportunity to change how I do business, how I operate to allow for money to be allocated. Okay, so if you're not a product business, that may be a kind of a hard stretch for you to get, but here's another example. You are an owner that wants to be a salon owner. I'm going to use a salon owner as an example here, and you want to be a 6-figure salon owner. And let's say you have 4 salon chairs in your business, and 3 of your chairs are booth rental, and you are leasing those chairs at about, let's say, $250, let's say $200 a week, right? That's going to translate into about $22K a year. And so you want to be a 6-figure salon owner, you have 4 chairs, but your revenue model is not aligned for you to make that, right? So that's the gap, is that you have a model of revenue that is never going to allow you to hit that mark. So the gap assessment is you need to change the revenue model or you need to change the goal. My recommendation would be not to change the goal, but to change the model, right? To create a different type of revenue model in your business that would allow you to make six figures. That's not solely dependent on you being behind the chair, right? So that's an example of how you have a vision of being six figures, your current assessment of what you're doing from a compensation, from a revenue is not aligned. You're never going to do that. And you need to make a change and create a goal or a different operational revenue model that's going to allow you to make that money. Okay, so third and last example of how you maybe misaligned, right? So here is a vision item that an owner may have, right? They want to have a team of dedicated and loyal team members on their team, right? So part of their, how do they want to work? Well, what kind of environment they want to provide for their staff members is they want to have a team full of dedicated employees, staff members who love working for the business, and they are just excited to come to work. Okay, so that's the vision, right? But when you do a self-assessment, you look at how you as a leader spend your time, and you realize that you spend 90% of your time performing services, not growing your team, not training your team, not being available for your team, not motivating your team, creating a structure that allows your team to be motivated and engaged, right? So that's the gap, right? Is that when you assess what you were doing as a leader in terms of being available for your team, you were never going to have a dedicated or motivated group of individuals working for you if you've created an environment where you as the leader are not there for them, or you don't have processes in place to allow them to be motivated and to be dedicated to excel, and you're not investing in them, right? That's the gap. So you've got to create a set of goals and objectives that that free you up as a leader so that you can be available to lead your team, motivate your team, to create that environment and that sort of soil, enriched soil for your team to be enriched so that they can then feel dedicated and become loyal, right? So it starts with you as the leader, right? So I've given you sort of 3 examples of vision statements or ideas that you as a business owner may have had for yourself or may have seen, but these are real examples that I've experienced with my clients who have wanted to have this sort of dream state business, but they were totally misaligned in their current state, and we had to restructure how they were operating in order for them to achieve what they want to achieve. And so here is what I offer for you today is if any of this sounds familiar to you and you find yourself in any of these situations where you have a great idea of where you want to be, you have a good idea of where you are and kind of how you're missing the point, but you may not be able to figure out how you're going to bridge that gap, right? Or you may be on the flip side. You know where you are today and you know that you're kind of just sort of mucking along and you don't know what your vision ought to be. Then here's kind of what I want to tell you is that you don't have to continue to sort of muck along and just kind of hope it's all going to fall into place. What I am doing for the month of July is I've opened up 5 spots for discovery sessions that will allow you as a business owner to see if you can get unstuck, right? If you can really identify what your dream state is, understand where you are today, and then really understand what changes you need to make in your business to make it happen. So I've got 5 discovery openings, or let me rephrase that. I've got 5 openings this month. I've opened up my calendar to allow 5 business owners to book an appointment with me to discover if I can help you get unstuck. And so that's only in the month of July that I'm doing that. And when those appointments are gone, they're gone. So what I urge you to do is if you feel like you want to get your goals defined, or you define them and you still are not making the traction that you want in 2017, I urge you to take advantage of this. These are free discovery calls at no cost to you. It's really about us trying to determine if you and I can work together such that we can get your goals defined, in a pretty quick way, so that you can take the rest of the year and going into 2018 to get you where you want to be from a vision perspective. I am extremely excited about the rest of the year. Let me just give you sort of an update of where I'm at. I have had to do the same thing that I'm recommending. My vision was 100 people. I had to make adjustments in terms of my business and figuring out, am I creating the right products and services? I had to change my product offering to ensure that I am getting in front of enough people so that I can help 100 business owners. And so we've been making those adjustments in the month of April and May. And so we've come up with a set of products and services that will allow me to get in front of more people. And so I've actually, over the last several months, have closed down my one-on-one coaching so that I could focus on group programs. And that's been an amazing experience as we go into the rest of 2017. I want you to click the link below, discovery.sundaygardner.com, in this post to book your session. I want you to know there's only 5 spots available, and when they're gone, they're gone. So the next round of sessions won't be until the end of 2017. So if you want to get unstuck and you want to do an assessment of where you are, identify your gaps to align you to your vision, I urge you to book any one of those 5 available sessions before they're gone. It was great talking to you today. I look forward to seeing you on the other side. You guys have a great evening, and we'll talk soon.